All right, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Dignity for All Students Act, which is a requirement for all school employees to have training on. What is DASA? The Dignity for All Students Act. It was established to protect all students from harassment, bullying, and discrimination, and it became effective in July of 2012. With social media, it was amended and to include cyberbullying, which became effective July 1st of 2013. What does it do? It prohibits bullying, harassment, discrimination, or cyberbullying against students in school based on the following: race, color, weight, national origin, ethnic group, religion, religious practice, disability, sexual orientation, gender, including gender identity and expression, sex, and other things that we see come up within our building.
The district and the school has a responsibility to respond to DASA complaints. The schools are required to provide students, staff, and persons in parental relation with information about DASA, including the identity of the DASA coordinator. In our school, the DASA coordinator is Miss Story at the K through 8 and Mrs. Love at the high school. Information is provided in languages other than English when necessary, and policies and procedures and guidelines that require a school environment free from harassment, bullying, discrimination, and cyberbullying. School districts have policies including the language from the DASA law. These policies must serve the following functions: to identify administrative designee to receive the reports, enable students and persons in parental relation to make a report, require school personnel to notify an administrator of a report within 1 day and file a written report no later than 2 days after the original report, and require a thorough investigation to be completed promptly after the report. Additionally, the schools are required to take prompt action to end the harassment, bullying, and or discrimination. Schools must prohibit retaliation against anyone making a report or assisting with the investigation. A school strategy must be developed to prevent harassment, bullying, and discrimination. The school leader should regularly report data trends to the superintendent, and school leaders are to notify law enforcement when behavior is believed to constitute criminal conduct. The DASA law also requires that all school personnel receive a copy of the district's policies, including the reporting process, at least annually, and ensure that the district's policies and procedures, including an incident report form, are posted on the district's website.
Dignity for All Students Act. What are the components? The actual policy, the Dignity Act coordinators. There are 2 in our building, as Ms. Love described earlier, and instruction for students. Civility, citizenship, character education to address the prohibition of harassment, bullying, or intimidation, including cyberbullying. School employee training, school employee reporting, and the annual reporting that happens at the end of every school year. Definitions. What is bullying? It's described as an unwanted, aggressive behavior that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. Bullying can occur before and after school hours, in a school building, on a playground, on a school bus, while a student is traveling to or from school, or on the internet. Cyberbullying occurs when harassment or bullying happens through any form of electronic communication. Students who are bullied and those who bully others may have serious and lasting problems. According to the United States Department of Education, bullying generally involves the following characteristics: there's an imbalance of power, there is the intent to cause harm, and there is repetition. Harassment is defined as the creation of a hostile environment by conduct or verbal threats, intimidation, or abuse that has or would have the following effect: reasonably and substantially interfering with a student's educational performance, opportunities, or benefits if there is an academic issue occurring from these harassing incidents. It would be reasonably to expect to cause a student to fear for his or her physical safety. So it's reasonable to have our students be in fear from the harassing that's happening. It's causing them fear, anxiety, stress. Discrimination is the act of denying rights, benefits, justice, equitable treatment, or access to facilities available to all others, to an individual or a group of people because of the group, class, or category to which that person belongs.
We're going to run through some scenarios of bullying or harassment incidences that could happen in our school. A student has been using his or her computer at home to send repeatedly nasty text messages about a classmate. Is this harassment under the Dignity Act? If off-school behaviors start to negatively affect another student's learning in school, the issue may be covered under the Dignity Act. Scenario 2. A student is being repeatedly teased by a classmate for being short. Is this considered harassment under the Dignity Act? The definitions of harassment and discrimination in the law were not intended to be inclusive of the 11 protected classes identified by the Dignity Act. For example, although height is not specifically cited in the law, a student harassed for being tall or short would be protected. The harassment of any student is prohibited. Scenario 3. A teacher is constantly humiliating Tasha in front of her classmates. She tells her, "You're failing, so I don't know why you even bother coming to school." Is this considered harassment under the Dignity Act? Yes, the teacher is creating a hostile, degrading, and humiliating environment that may impact or negatively be impacting a child's learning.
DASA reporting requirements for our school. When a student approaches you and says, "This is happening, I feel like I'm being bullied, harassed, or discriminated," you're required to orally report the incident within one school day to the principal, superintendent, or his or her designee, which could be the DASA coordinator, myself, Mrs. Story, or Miss Love. Report in writing within 2 school days after making an oral report. It must include the date, the name of the student that was targeted, the name of the aggressors, the name of a witness or bystander, description of the event, and the name of the reporter. This can also be anonymous. The form must be accessible on the school district website. Following the completion of the incident report form, a prompt and thorough investigation begins. The investigation. The DASA coordinator or administrator typically leads this investigation. It's a team approach that is recommended to collect the information. A school resource officer and mental health professionals also advise and respond. Interview all involved, the target, the aggressor, and the witnesses. Separately, this is not mediation or conflict resolution. Use a calm, problem-solving, investigative approach to find out what exactly was said and done. Save evidence, including recordings. Motive or intent, anger, misguided joke, threat of harm to state safety. Relationship and past history, one-time occurrence or repeated. Impact or perceived impact on school functioning. Contact persons in parental relation of all students interviewed. After investigating an incident, the Dignity Act coordinator or school leader must make a determination as to whether the incident is material. A material incident under DASA is an active series of acts by a student and or employee on school property or at a school function. It creates a hostile environment by conduct with or without physical contact and or verbal threats, intimidation, or abuse. Conduct of such a severe or pervasive nature that has the following effect: unreasonably and substantially interferes with students' educational performance, opportunities, or benefits. Mental, emotional, and or physical well-being reasonably causes or would reasonably be expected to cause a student to fear for his or her physical safety. A single incident or series of related incidents leads to the student is subjected to discrimination and or harassment by student and or employee. This creates a hostile environment with or without physical contact and or by verbal threats, intimidation, or abuse. Severe or pervasive enough to substantially interfere with education, well-being, or fear for physical safety. Take prompt action. Consequences are most effective when they directly address the problem and the context. The most effective approach considers the following: what is the student's age and developmentally appropriate conduct? What are specific offense and circumstances of the incident? What is the student's prior disciplinary record? Input from persons in parental relation, teachers, mental health professionals as appropriate. Disability status. Determine whether behavior is directly related to disability.
Plan for change. Use supports like restorative practices, positive intervention supports, or our Safe and Civil Schools policies. Provide support to students and persons in parental relation involved, including counseling, conflict resolution, and mediation. Take actions to improve the school climate. Behavioral intervention contract, teach dignity and respect, and develop and refine the school policy. This should be reviewed and revised regularly. The school is also required to report this to the district. Policies and procedures include the Dignity Act coordinator reviews incident report forms regularly, at least once per semester. And the Dignity Act coordinator provides summary of data for the semester to the school leader, including the following: number of incidents reported by that semester, number of cyberbullying incidents reported, number of reported incidents found to be material, and the type of biases involved in the incidents, if there are any. School leader reviews and collates summary data from the Dignity Act coordinator, including the principal's annual report to the superintendent. District document retention includes report forms and investigative materials. The district then reports this information to the New York State Department of Education. The superintendent reviews each school principal's annual report and summary. The superintendent provides a certified accurate count of all material incidents for the school year. That is July 1st through June 30th. All DASA incident reports are filed or maintained electronically in a central location for the period of time required by the New York State Records Retention Rules. DASA incident reports are not filed as part of a student's school record. The key is prevention. It starts long before the incident occurs. Routines and procedures and collaborative school efforts lead to promote a positive school climate. Routines and procedures to reinforce positive learning environment, like safe and civil schools, multi-tiered systems of supports, foundations, positive school culture, and behavior management strategies are tools that we're already using in our school to prevent these incidents. Also, collaboration and creating relationships with the students and with the parents, as well as the staff members in our building, help to create a positive school environment. We also include materials and trainings, teacher trainings, social emotional learning standards, and the mental health framework from New York State to guide us as we create our positive school environment.
This is the end of the presentation, but the next few slides give you some really important information. So I'll leave them up so you can copy down anything you think is necessary. Contact information for the NYSED Office of Student Support Services. Their number and website is attached. New York State Center for School Safety. Again, the number and the website is attached. Here are some resources. For additional information, please visit the following: the website for the Dignity Act itself, guidance for local implementation, resources for promising practice guides. I can also attach this to an email so you guys have all of these resources available. Other resources: safe and supportive learning and stop bullying. Thanks again, and we hope this was very helpful for you. If you have any questions, please direct them to myself, Mrs. Story, or to Miss Love.